Fortunately, Graham Souness is on hand to provide his customary corrective therapy.
We're on our way. We are on 22.
Now, this mournful song is actually in celebration of England's qualification for the World Cup finals. A Wembley win over Hungary secures their ticket to Spain.
Holding Martin up with the goalkeeper. This is Trevor Brooking. Oh, there's a chance there to go. Paul Mariner.
Scotland too reached the finals with a lot of help from soon-to-be TV star Andy Gray. Here he wins a ludicrous penalty against Sweden, for which he looks rightfully ashamed. Even the ref says, what you going to do? Without a shred of conscience, John Robertson converts the gift and the Scots are on their way.
Oh, fantastic. Still here. That's that. Right. Oh, you did fantastic. Oh, thanks for starting, pal. Hey, I'll just get my luggage. We're on already, welcome. Hey, what's happening?
Our weekly dose of little and large. Billy Bingham's Northern Ireland make it a hat-trick of home teams to qualify for the World Cup finals, and that's the first time it's happened since Sweden in 1958. Meantime, back at White Hart Lane, Tottenham, with all their endearing Cockney root supporters, show they are ready to embrace the much-talked-of flotation. Brian Robson and Man United would be the latest visitors.
Bottle as ever to take. And it was Roberts' header. Why Duxbury headed it, I don't know, and neither I imagine would he. And it ends up with a goal scored by Hazard. Archibald in the 6-yard box, Roberts behind it. Oh, he might get a free header and does! Wilkins takes the kick. Here's Bertels. And he got it at the second time. Archibald. Oh, good try! And what a lovely goal!
Meanwhile, across North London, Arsenal boss Terry Neal was feeling the heat following a series of poor results and the controversial transfers of Highbury heroes Liam Brady and Frank Stapleton. With Brady now in Italy and Stapleton installed at Man United, the Arsenal fans are as mad as hell and not going to take any more.
There's been terrible mismanagement, otherwise Arsenal wouldn't be in this situation, and somebody somewhere should definitely take the rap for that.
Who can I replace Frank Stapleton with? Who is better than Liam Brady in Europe?
He's not prepared to give backhanders like the rest of the managers in the league.
Wouldn't you accept that explanation?
No, if you can't get the players and that's what you've got to do, that's what you've got to do.
I'm sure that you've got to play by the book, and it's courting disaster to do anything that is not legal, and we're not prepared to get involved in it.
So there never has been and never will be any bungs at Arsenal. Oh, and they're all teetotal too. Off they go to West Ham.
Phil Parks came for it, is White. It's White with a chance, and he scored. And for Chris White, that's his first goal in league football. No wonder he's so pleased, and those fans are too. Sanson. Tackle was by Ray Stewart. The linesman is flagging. And a penalty, which John Hollins will take, and a chance for Arsenal to go 2-up. And they do. John Hollins, since his Chelsea days, always a very reliable striker of the dead ball.
Following mass cancellations due to poor weather, artificial turf is pitched as an alternative. And it's QPR's Terry Venables leading the way to puff this amazing new wonder turf.
If you actually I came to you and I was going to try and sell you a grass pitch and everyone had OmniTurf, I would say to you, well, I've got this new idea of a grass pitch, and you say, what, grass all the year round? I say, no, not all the year round, but for 2 months it's very nice, it's good. And then we get a bit heavy in the goal mouths and the goalkeepers can't move so well, and then when the rain comes really hard, we get rain all over. Now, the ball don't bounce at all. It goes and it sticks in the mud. It don't bounce at all.
In goes Stonehouse. See how quickly the ball came off the surface there. Well judged by John Burridge. But when the ball bounces, there's a matter of judgment.
And as it turned out, whenever a player bounced on it, there was a matter of first-degree burns. Still, BBC consumer expert Bob Wilson was sent out to investigate.
Reading the bounce of a downward header is equally difficult, as I'm sure Barnsley's Robbie Horne would be quick to testify.
He went down low for a header that looked as though it was going to shoot through, and it bounced over the top. Any footballer would probably rather play on this than some of the 6-inch deep mud heaps and the icy, frosty grounds that we play on sometimes.
That was like concrete. It was actually an awful pitch.
Subbuteo pitches. The only difference being that in Subbuteo, when the man goes down, he rolls up and gets up.
Well, the goalkeepers used to pass at each other. Well, that was it.
Plastic wasn't the best. It wasn't to play football on. That's for playing hockey or whatever, isn't it?
There's a certain amount of what I would call ping-pong football being played.
Ping-pong football, what's that?
Great deal of ball bouncing around and players trying to get it under control.
Oh, well, balls do bounce. Oh, well, most balls bounce. But at the same time, I think that the ball's got to be controlled.
If you get a good touch in the ball and a good skill factor, then plastic pitches are never a problem to you.
Oh, what a good piece of skill.
We had an advantage of training on it all week and then playing on it, and in a way it was a different game.
Look, the Christmas League table shows Swansea leading the field. Man United and Ipswich are close, but Liverpool nowhere.
For visiting players, the famous Anfield sign used to mean abandon hope. But these days, a home defeat for Liverpool no longer makes the headlines. This week, Bob Paisley had to actually appeal for Liverpool fans to give their team more support.
We got off to not the best start in the world, and at Christmas we had an absolutely torrid time. I remember one game against Manchester City at Anfield where they beat us 3-1 and could have been 5 or 6, and Bruce was coming and missing, and it looked at that stage and that it was the end of an era, people were calling it.
Corrigan's kick is stretching Thompson, and the header dropping to Reeves, and Thompson gets it clear. Grobbelaar goes up and drops it again, and that's a penalty. Thompson turning it over, Grobbelaar made the mistake, Kinsey fired to the top corner of the net, and Thompson had no option but to do what his goalkeeper perhaps should have done in the first place and make a decent save. So City could go ahead here. A fine ball. There's Kinsey. Francis screaming for it on the edge of the box. Reeves with a back flick, and it's gone in! And Grobbelaar's misery is complete. Reeves gets the goal, but really it was almost an own goal by this sad figure of Bruce Grobbelaar.
Much of Liverpool's form was put down to Grobbelaar's shaky start, dubbed clown by Everton supporters after a typically individual display.
Grobbelaar, where on earth is he?
Indeed, it was a priceless moment of bonkers Brucey, which led to Liverpool's shock exit from the European Cup.
Oh, and that one came off Mike Lyon's head. It was hooked out by Mark Lawrenson. Grobbelaar's having a dicey period.
Didn't help the team at all, really. But then again, it's a 12-man team, and you know, maybe everybody wasn't pushing together.
What a good save by Grobbelaar!
I think it's the fans that you've got to please, because they pay your wages.
But for each yin, there's a yang, and often the spectacular was pulled off.
Bruce was taking a lot of the blame for a lot of the defeats. But he's big enough and manly enough to take it on the chin when it was happening. And as he proved in later years, he was probably one of the finest keepers Liverpool ever had.
Whilst Liverpool struggle for form, in the lower divisions, clubs are struggling for their very survival. Falling attendances at Bristol City aren't helped by a visit from the receivers or by the decision to sack 8 senior players, the Ashton Gate 8 they became known, all in a bid to save a few quid. A few of the desperate clubs were lucky enough to find millionaires to bail them out. Oxford found their future secured via Robert Maxwell. Hooray! That's him in the wig.
The handshakes were sincere. Maxwell's kept these men in a job and saved the football club from dying.
Having made a few shillings and accepting that there are public responsibilities of a person like myself, I felt I must not allow this club to go under.